Have you ever discovered that everything you believed about your family, your identity, your life, was built on a secret? A single truth revealed overnight that shatters the world you lived in. That was the moment everything changed. I grew up thinking my family was ordinary, safe, loving, dependable. My childhood home echoed with laughter, birthdays, dinner tables filled with stories. My father was dependable, my mother gentle, my sister always at my side. Every Sunday, we gathered in the same living room, exchanged the same jokes, shared the same routines. I never questioned the fabric of our life until the day I found the letter. It was hidden inside a dusty old box in the attic. I wasn't supposed to go up there, but that morning something pulled me, perhaps curiosity. Perhaps fate. The letter was in my mother's handwriting, dated 25 years ago, with no envelope, just that page, just those words. My hands trembled as I read. If you're reading this, know you were never truly mine. Time froze. My breath hitched. The attic lights buzzed overhead as memories I thought I understood blurred and crashed like waves. I ran downstairs, heart pounding, reality unraveling. My parents, my sister, everyone I trusted, they all carried that truth silently. I felt betrayed, unmoored. I confronted my mother first. In the kitchen where she used to hum while cooking, the letter paper trembling in my hand, her face collapsed in two. Tears before I could say a word. Then came the confession. I had been born from a secret relationship. Not as her child, but as someone else's. A promise she never broke, but a secret she carried every day. It felt like an explosion in my chest. My father's kind voice when I entered college, that wasn't mine. My sister's birthday card that said my best friend forever, how hollow had it been. And my mother, her gentle embrace, was it maternal love or guilt-driven penance? I fled the house, needing air, needing answers. Outside, the world was silent, but alive birds chirped, wind rustled. People went about their days while my life had shattered inside. Days later, I found myself in the dusty corridors of an old records office in another city. My mother's letter had revealed the name of my biological father, someone I had never heard of. I fingerprinted through birth records, adoption papers, private letters. It emerged he had disappeared before I was born, vanished without knowledge. Of me, he never knew I existed, but I did exist. I had lived 25 years, believing a story that wasn't mine. I sat in the archway light of the old registry office, tears silent but unstoppable. I thought of my mother's nightly prayers, her whispered sobs before sleep. She hadn't betrayed me. She had protected me by shaping a life she felt I deserved. When I returned home, every familiar object felt foreign. My bed, my books, my childhood photos, especially the family portrait of all of us, smiling, framed like an unspoken lie. I locked myself in my room, anger boiling beneath sadness. I called my mother late that night. She answered quietly. We spoke for hours, through tears and regrets. She explained how she had fallen in love, how fear had consumed her, how every day since had been a battle between revelation and warning. She never told my father. She never hurt me intentionally. She believed hiding the truth was saving our family, perhaps saving me. Did I forgive her? I promised I would. Not in that moment. Forgiveness takes time. But I vowed I would live honestly from now on. The next morning, I left the house before anyone else woke up. I drove to the cemetery where my biological father's name was engraved, took a photograph of the simple headstone. I felt strange love for this man I never met, like a missing piece had finally been acknowledged. I spoke to him aloud. I exist because of you. I forgave my mother, and I forgive you too, even though I never knew you. My mother's secret had upended my world, but it also began my journey toward clarity. I quit my job and moved to a new city, started volunteering for a children's advocacy group, helping kids who lived in uncertainty, stigma, or hidden truths. Because now I understood the burden of secrecy and the healing power of truth. Months passed, I returned home occasionally. Family dinners felt awkward but honest. My sister and I rebuilt our bond. She had never known the secret either, and we now held each other tighter. My father, still hearing the story in fragments, simply told me one night, "I loved you as my own child." That truth never changed, and I believed him. He was my family by choice, not by biology. I began writing a journal titled The Secret, and the story, pouring emotions, regrets, hope, all on paper. I realized that our history wasn't erased by revelation, it was reframed. The family we built afterward, grounded in honesty, felt more profound than the illusion before. Years later, I gave a speech at a community event. Secrets shape us, but truth redeems us. I spoke of my parents, my secret identity, and the journey to forgiveness. I saw faces in the audience, people whose families bore weight of silence too. Afterward, many approached me to share their own family secrets, because that secret had taught me empathy, resilience, and the courage to face hidden pain. One afternoon, I found another letter, the original draft of the one in the attic. It was torn, smudged with tears, unsigned. I asked my mother about it. She said it was her attempt to confess when she was younger, but fear had stopped her hands before she could finish. That draft meant innocence, hesitation, love, and shame, all colliding. I placed both letters side by side in a frame, two versions of the same truth. I hung it in my home study, and I understood secrets can darken a life, but acknowledgement can light every corner. Every family carries a secret, some silent, some explosive, but it's not the secret that defines us. It's how we choose to heal once truth is revealed. If you're listening today, burdened by your own hidden past, know that honesty may break your world, but it's also the doorway to freedom, redemption, and deeper love. Stand in your truth. Forgive where you can, rebuild what matters, and know your story matters. Even if its start was written in secret, I often wonder how life would have been if that attic box had remained closed. If my mother's secret stayed buried forever, I might have lived a simpler life, safe, unaware. But would it have been whole? No, because true life begins where secrets end. I remember one stormy night, my mother and I sat by the fireplace. For the first time, she told me about him, my biological father, how they met at a summer festival, how their love was real but impossible, how society, fear, and circumstance tore them apart. She spoke with trembling hands but steady eyes. And for the first time, I saw not just my mother, but a young woman who had carried heartbreak longer than I had been alive. That night, we cried together, and something inside both of us healed, not entirely, but enough to make breathing easier, enough to let us smile without guilt again. Years later, as I watched my own children play in a sunlit garden, I promised them silently I would never let secrets weigh on their hearts. I would teach them truth, teach them courage to face it, because that is how love truly survives. If you're hearing this story tonight, sitting alone with your own families, hidden truths, know this: secrets feel like protection, but they are silent chains. The moment you face them, the moment you speak them, you begin to set generations free. That is what my mother's letter gave me. Not pain, not betrayal, but freedom to finally live as myself, love not for an illusion, but for the truth of who I am.